Well, it turns out I thought I was live. I'd click go live in Streamlabs OBS. Turns out it wasn't live. And I'm not even sure I am now. I've killed YouTube, apparently. Well, no, I haven't. Right, it's just Streamlabs. Fantastic. So, the entire time, I thought we were live, and we weren't. I'd been talking to myself for the best part of 2 flipping hours. Welcome, everyone, then. If you're one of my cadets, been watching my videos on Pilot Nav, this video is not for you. This is me having a bit of fun on a Friday night. This is absolutely not an educational video, and it is certainly not something that I would recommend to cadets. But for everyone else, please do sit back and enjoy. I'll take you through what I've been talking about for the last 2 hours to my flipping self. So, here we are. No. So we flew out of Cranwell. Oh, hang on. We flew out of Cranwell, under controlled airspace, burned it over the Mach Loop, over Anglesey, wiggled our way past the Isle of Man and Belfast, got in touch with Scottish Control. They said, yeah, crack on. We're currently online with Scottish Control. VFR at flight level 400 at Mach 1.1. Yeah, work that one out. He's been absolutely good as gold with it. He's been really, really good. Massively appreciate Greg. So, yeah, Greg, thank you very much, sir. We're doing a loop. We went supersonic around about here. I say that, I'm pointing at the wrong screen. Around about here. We were down at about 7,500 up until here. All the way around here, we were no higher than 2,500 feet, which was just bonkers for a B1. Climbed up to 360 around about here. And now we're at flight level 400, supersonic. We were trying to catch someone up out of Iceland, but he's apparently gone offline. Or she, I don't know. But yeah, so we went supersonic. We had the burners going. And I thought, oh, I wonder if this can super cruise. I'm pretty sure it can't. But, well, correct me on that. Because I didn't think the B1 could super cruise. But I am by no means any sort of expert on this aircraft at all. This is just the... sorry, I'm just getting a bearing. This is not like a realistic model or anything like this. This is just the one-off Steam. So that gives you an idea, the sort of standard of this model of the B1. He's told us to stay outside controlled airspace. We initially agreed not above flight level 360. I then asked a bit later on, would you mind us going up to 400? We've got eyes on that there's some traffic coming out of Iceland. We've looped round. We're not going that much quicker than them, despite the fact that we're going, speed of sound. Although we sped up now because we've got a tailwind. But yeah, the one guy who I thought we were probably going to catch up seems to have dropped offline. So that's not too much of an issue. But we're looping around the top of Scotland, and we're going to come all the way back down into Cranwell. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for saying that. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, in terms of fuel, we used... So on the wing tanks, we were just sort of around about 14,000 pounds, doing all the way, including getting up to flight level 360, all the way to sort of northwest coast of Scotland. We then had the afterburner on, just around North Scotland. Very, very small distance. We've used more fuel in those last couple of minutes than we have done for about 2 hours, which gives you really an idea. And I was talking about how impressive that makes Concorde, yeah, I'm pretty sure this can't supercruise. Now, I'm slightly concerned about the pitch angle we've got here. So the aircraft reckons we're at 0 pitch. If you look, I mean, you look at the angle of attack of the wing here. Can I zoom in on that or what? So I'll put the horizon. The horizon's obviously horizontal. That line there, you might just be able to see it. Depends how YouTube renders this. But that line I'm following as true as I can with the mouse. That is at least 3 or 4 degrees angle of attack. It's certainly not flush with this line I am drawing with the mouse now, right? Surely you can. Hopefully you can see that. The horizon's not even flush with this line here at the bottom of the engine. In fact, it's not even flush with this. And you can see that is different to this. So we've got to have a nose-up pitch or an angle of attack. But our angle of attack is 0. Oh, hang on, no. Ha, that's not angle of attack, that's vertical speed. That's angle of attack. That currently says 5 degrees. That is perfectly believable. Yeah, I was being a div. How high is this guy? Oh, not very. Right, okay, cool, that makes sense. But even so, right, point still, and the reason why I was twitching a bit, 5 degrees nose up at Mach 1.1. That doesn't sound right to me. That just sounds horrifically draggy. Like, that not coincident with high-speed aerodynamics. Like, it just sounds wrong. I don't know. Really confused by that. Well, now we've got the wind with us, our ground speed has shot through the roof, so 634 knots. Before we were struggling to hit 520 knots on the ground speed, doing the same speed. So, you know, shows how much of a difference the wind makes. Oh, and I can put... There we go. So yeah, this aircraft is rated for maximum speed Mach 1.25 at 40,000 feet. So we're at flight level 400 at the moment, as you can see here, on 2992, because it's American. So 1013 in European. And we're at Mach 1.1. For different instrument, Mach just a smidge under Mach 1.1. Ignore that, I'm not on altitude. Sorry, I'm not on speed hold or anything at the moment. I'm on max dry thrust. We needed the burners to get through the sound barrier. That's perfectly understandable, so does Concorde. Most things need burners to get through the sound barrier because it's like a brick wall of drag, but once you're the other side of it, you're all right. But when you're around that Mach 1 area, everything goes supercritical, and well, the wings get supercritical anyway on certain airfoil sections on certain aircraft. But getting through that wall, that Mach 1 wall, bear in mind, you know, the air accelerates over the top of the wing, so the air going over the top of the wing is going faster than you are. So that's going to hit the speed of sound sooner than you do. It's a bit of that's the whole definition of supercritical airfoils. And anyway, won't get into the aerodynamics, but more than happy to if people are interested, don't get me wrong. But it's a brick wall hitting that sound barrier. Once you're the other side, you can manage the shockwave, which is what's causing you the drag, and you can then use it to your advantage. But there's no way of dealing with the bow shock before it is attached to the aircraft. I've just said a load of words that I said I wasn't going to go into the depths, but anyway, that's roughly it. I'm not an aerodynamicist, I'm just trying to remember what I did at uni. But yeah, I've got a vague understanding. Think of a boat going through the water and you got the bow wave, yeah, and it's, you know, the boat goes faster, the bow wave gets bigger and it's pushing the boat back. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening, except on a much bigger scale and with air rather than water. But once you have got ahead of that bow wave, that takes a bit of thinking, but you know, that bow wave's getting bigger and bigger, but if you're going faster than it, you can then use that bow wave to push you along and you ride along the front of it. It's not the best example, and please, aerodynamicists, other people who did my degree, bearing in mind I've had most of the bottle of cider here, but that's sort of a good way of sort of getting your head around what's sort of going on and why being at the speed of sound is just absolutely not where you want to be. You either want to be a good bit slower than it or a good bit faster than it. And then Mach 2, Mach 3, Mach 4, that is irrelevant. So we're more or less now flying directly at Cranwell, believe it or not. I've got the sound muted, by the way. I do apologise for that, but because this controller has been so good with allowing me to fly VFR at Mach 1.1 at flight level 400, I'm respecting that and making sure I'm properly ears on and not going to miss a single thing from him.
Thank you very much. Scottish Centre, good evening. This is your Trans 278 Heavy with you, currently maintaining flight level 280 inbound IPSA. Your Trans 278 Scottish Control, good evening. Climb flight level 330. Flight level 330 for your Trans 278. Thank you.
And we're almost out on the wing tanks. Now, how do I actually change what tanks we're on? Because I am absolutely not going to assume it's automated. Ah, here we go. Select tanks aft. Is it me or is it the wing? What?
Scottish Control, good evening. Climb flight level 400. Flight level 400,
So is this just not doing anything? I mean, half of these switches don't work, so it wouldn't surprise me. Well, let's see if this fuselage tank... Bear in mind, we got £40,000 in there, and we've only used, what, 30? Yeah, 40 maybe-ish tops. And we've still got 40,000 in there. The fuzz blust. Please tell me that's not ballast. And I need to pump fuel forwards or back. No, it can't be. It's just not an option in this aircraft. Oh, hello, cat. I don't know. The nozzles are completely spazzing out, but whatever. We're still mowing along at 5 degrees AOA at Mach 1.1 and in level flight. There's just so much wrong with what I just said there. I mean, yeah, whatever. So when do I want to start my descent? Well, I want to be below flight level 100 when we enter London airspace. So we really need to think about doing that because it's going to take a bit of time to get below the sound barrier, and then we can start a descent. So let's do that. Scottish Bone 79 a message. Bone 79, are you happy for us to start a descent now? I'd ideally like to be below flight level 100 before we hit London control. Roger, thank you, flight level 100, Bone 79. Okay. So, oh, we are supersonic, so I can't just kill the power, because otherwise, I mean, it won't be modelled in this, but if it is modelled in Concorde, but if you just kill the power, the engines, the sudden surge of pressure on the engines, it tries to spin it the other way, and not strictly true, but yeah, it causes havoc. So you need to be a little bit delicate. Still needs to keep thrust coming out of the engine, but it needs to be obviously less than your drag, so you slow down, but you can't just kill your thrust altogether. It'll just rip the aircraft to bits. More the engine. And as we hit the speed of sound, we'll hit that bow shock. Whether it's modelled in this, I doubt it, to be honest. But we should see that. We should almost be like hitting a brick wall until we get back down to about Mach 0.9596, something there or thereabouts. We certainly shouldn't be hovering at Mach 1. So that is absolutely not modelled. I'm just going to slowly bring the throttle back. Just to be on the safe side. And we're subsonic now, so I can now drop the nose. No point dropping the nose if you're supersonic, because you just won't slow down and you'll lawn dart into the ground. Is probably, you know, the better case. More realistically, again, it's probably not modelled in this. It is on the Concorde, or on Concorde. You would, because you're descending into the thick, soupy air, you would just massively overheat the aircraft, because you are just like the space shuttle coming in. You're just absolutely plastering the air molecules into the aircraft at a ridiculous speed. It just causes friction and overheats the aircraft. We certainly shouldn't be accelerating, because it sort of hits not an equilibrium, but a point where you just, once you're below the sound barrier, it's difficult to, with a gentle descent like this, to actually push through that drag wall. So it sort of balances a little bit. But I know I've not done a great job of explaining that. But as you can see, you know, we're more or less 5 degrees nose up. 5 degrees angle of attack. That's different to your pitch angle. That's the angle that the air is hitting the wing, but it is still positive, which it absolutely should be. You got big issues if it's not, because then your wing's acting like a spoiler on a car, on an F1 car. But now we are obviously dropping like the proverbial red balloon. Red balloon? Lead balloon! Ay caramba! 4,000 feet a minute. Yeah, we are plummeting towards the ground. Full on lawn dart status here. That's absolutely fine. as long as we're subsonic,
Scottish Centre, Eurotrans 278.
I am happy.
Request. Eurotrans 278. Is it possible for 5 minutes away from cockpit? Yep, no problem. Call back. We'll call back. Thank you very much. Eurotrans 278 heavy.
Trans 278 heavy. 278 there. Appreciate. I don't know. There we go. That spy. There we go. So you can sort of roughly see that, hopefully. Okay. So we are mowing it. Absolutely mowing it. We've got Newcastle just sort of almost at 3 o'clock. Just a little bit ahead of us here. We're flying due south. Pretty much bang straight. Well, I've put the line on there on Vatsim. I appreciate you probably can't read the text, but hopefully you can see the red line. We're almost going bone straight, brilliant, straight towards Cranwell. Landing this thing is not trivial. Like takeoff. You should have been here for that. In fact, I thought you were. Oh well. One of those things, isn't it? I did set Go Live on Streamlabs OBS, but apparently you've also got to open up your browser, go into YouTube, and also click Start Stream in YouTube, which you never used to have to do.
Yep, thank you, Unicom. Thank you very much for your help. Easy 69 uniform. Vector line controls offline. Unicom 122 decimal 8. Good day.
Yeah, because if you give it the token and everything, it should just go live. But anyway, it didn't.
Easy 96 uniform Victor. Line controls offline. Unicom 122 decimal 8. Good day. Unicom 122 decimal 8.
Oh, Fraser's on London.
6 uniform Victor. Easy 85 Victor Alpha. When ready, descend flight level 200 to be level 10 miles before Lakey.
I just realised we'd actually stopped our descent there. Whoops.
Easy 85 Victor Alpha, Scottish Control. Easy 85 Victor Alpha, my apologies. Easy 85 Victor Alpha, when ready, descend flight level 200 to be level 10 miles before Lakey. Level 200, 10 miles before Lakey, easy 85 Victor Alpha.
That's the guy who's just gone to the loo. Flying over to Bergen, Norway. Oh, bit of gust of wind there. Don't know if you saw that. 10 degrees nose down. Look at that. There's no pitch hold on this, which will be handy, but no way of no angle of attack hold either. Let's say Concorde is a little bit easier to fly in that regard. But, of course, this is a crappy model, whereas the FS Labs Concorde is not a crappy model, it's a very good model. Alright, there.
179, there's no other traffic observed. To affect you, you can... Start again. There's no traffic observed, and you can frequency change proof.
Roger, thank you very much for your service and your cooperation. Really, really enjoyed that up here. We'll see you soon. Bone79er, cheers.
No problem, I think my brain died there.
That's a Friday, you're allowed. Okay, so we're over to Unicom then. Which means we can have the sound back. Yay! Blow everyone's ears off. So yeah, we are, I mean, by pure fluke, our heading is currently well, our track, should I say, not necessarily our heading, but our track is actually taking us straight towards Cranwell. I've just sent him a message saying thank you again. Yeah, he's doing this because he wants to. So, you know, 10 out of 10. Really appreciated it. And I could have just, you know, stuffed it and flown up. You know, there wasn't much traffic. You probably wouldn't have cared too much. It absolutely wasn't the flight plan that I'd filed. But we're VFR, so to hell with flight plans. That they're not particularly relevant. But, you know, I had him on frequency. It was just nice talking to someone. That sounds really lonely, doesn't it? But it really, really was. Nice having him watch our back. So this flight level 100. At this point you would put your lights on, but we're military, so stuff them. And we are still, you know, near enough idle throttle. And we're going to drop down to flight level 7.5, and then we'll level at that until we get a bit closer. London is still on. Oh, tell a lie, London North is not on, and there isn't a London Centre. So actually we're staying outside. Although if the wind is bad, we will technically be going into London East, but he's probably not going to call us. Simply because we're right on the border, and he'll clearly see that we're going into Cranwell, which is not in his airspace. But we will have to go in his airspace to do the circuit because this thing doesn't turn particularly quickly. But it'll probably not do a contact me because there's no point. Because he can't give me landing clearance anyway because it's not his sector. But he's well within his rights because, of course, we will be entering his airspace. And we are VFR, and I'm very aware of we're VFR and flying straight at a flipping cloud. So maybe we won't stop descent at flight level 70. Tell you what, let's do it properly, shall we? We are VFR. I forgot you need so much rudder to turn this thing. He says no problem at all. Thank you very much, sir. So we are going to have to shoot for the gap between the clouds. We can't fly through the clouds. We've got to maintain visual with anything else. There is no traffic on the radar, and also Scottish were kind enough to say there's no observable traffic between you and your destination. However, there is this A319 Lufthansa 1 Hotel A319 out of Frankfurt for Manchester, but we're so far below him, absolutely not going to be an issue. So, you know, what Scottish said, there's no realistic traffic. He said no observable, didn't he? I think the reason he said that is because his radar technically might not extend far enough. I think the beauty of Vatsim is it probably does, I'm not sure. But, you know, real-world ops and all that sort of thing. And, of course, the thing with Vatsim is someone could just suddenly spawn in. Can't control that. So there's the hull estuary, there is hull itself. I'm not too worried about noise, purely because the engines are so far throttled back. So, you know, noise is not an issue. I'm just sorting out my moving map just to make sure we're not going into any controlled airspace here. And let's get nice and low, shall we? Yeah, autopilot is off. You might have heard the beep, beep, beep. And we are VFR, so we'll be at the 500s of altitude. So there's 1,500. And normally I'd have the wings out. Say normally, like I fly this thing often and know what I'm doing. But we're not really going slow enough to warrant that at the moment. We're still doing, what, 360 odd knots? So at the moment the aircraft's not particularly bothered that we've got the wings in. So if the aircraft's not bothered... Oh, it is starting to be now. So wings coming out a notch. We've got to be very careful and delicate doing this because look how much that's played havoc with our pitch. And that will start bleeding the speed off now, of course. That's Humberside Airport coming up to our sort of 12 o'clock. See the pappy lights there. 300 knots. Wings can come out a bit more now. That would be terrifying seeing that come, wouldn't it? Look at that. Even with the wings not swept, I mean, this is playing havoc on the pitch. As absolutely I would expect. So you want joystick cam now, don't you? There you go. And you can see my drunken stupor stabbing at the controls for a bit. Now, from memory, this is an absolute brute to land. And I could do with knowing what the weather is currently at Crandix, or at least where we are now. 0509 knots. So we are going to be joining downwind, which is not a military type join at all. So we're going to head out towards Coningsby, I suppose. I mean, this is a bomber, so, you know. So to that end, then, 1111. Oh, that's easy to remember, isn't it, for Coningsby? So, 1111. Pating is Coningsby. 27 miles. Has it got a VOR? Nope, it's just a DME. What the hell was that? Okay, so now we're worried about noise, but we're not anywhere with people, so we are golden. Speed 210 knots, 220, something like that. Yeah, 217. Oh, actually, you know what? Oh, I'm just thinking about this out loud now, and I appreciate you can't see Plan G. 1128 is what we want. Let's not go to Coningsby. Let's go towards Gampston. So we know how VORs work and how our nav radio works, so that's exactly what I'm doing, and I always forget you need to look how much rudder I've got on there. Bonkers. Our angle of attack's good. Just. And then we'll be landing easterly on at Crandix. Cranwell. Oh, not again. So I mean, it's really struggling to do 200 knots here. 200 knots? Hello. So, over Scampton, the old home of the Red Arrows. Still current? Can't remember. There's Scampton there, right off the nose. There, pointing at it there, look. We should really give them a buzz, shouldn't we? Yeah, you know what, let's do that. There's no controlled airspace around here, so we're good below flight level 100. There we go, full on lawn dart, we're actually accelerating here. I would like to get level though. Why is there still cloud below us? Aye, aye, aye. And then we'll re-pick up a radial straight into Gampston. From there we can turn due south and then we can head due east into Cranwell. Bit of a wing wave. Look at that. The Taylor-ons as well. So we'll pick up a radial into Gampston. So I don't really care what radial we pick up. I just want to go straight. Whoa, hello. Straight towards Gampston. So it's like that. $220 knots. As we know, we need to increase our thrust a little bit. Oh, we've still got millions of fuel. And it's still coming out of the wing tanks, despite the fact that we changed the little tank selector here, so that clearly does the square root of naff all. You know what I was going to say there, don't you? Good. And I want to pretty much get to Gampston before turning south towards Syerston, which is just sort of east-northeast of Nottingham, and then we'll turn east. There's no radio nav aids there, so we'll be pretty much looking out for Nottingham City itself to navigate. Realistically, we'd be using TACANs and things like that, but I'm not sure. They probably are, but I'm not sure if TACANs are even in FSX. Certainly not on Plan G, or at least not. I've never seen a TACAN on Plan G. I said I was going to fly to Gampston, didn't I? So let's actually do what I'm saying. Come on, Simon. You can do this. You can do it. I am very hesitant about this landing. There's Gampston there. Because, I mean, this thing flies so fast. Mind you, we haven't got any flaps out, so... I remember flying this once on a BA Virtual Flying Club flight across the Himalayas. There was some guy in an F-22. Everyone else is there in like A320s and the like. There's this American chap in an F-22 hauling ass much quicker than I was. I was like, I'm having none of that. So on the leg before it, I did a Spitfire. Turns out, Spitfires don't like flying up the flipping Himalayas, and they burn a lot of fuel at that altitude because they're not designed. Well, there's a piston. Yeah, Gampston. Yeah, I did lots of very sketchy landings at altitude at max power because I had to be at max power to just maintain any sort of airspeed and altitude because the air's so thin, just so I could refuel. I could have turned on infinite fuel, well aware of that, but where's the fun? And also, it forced me to actually route around the mountains because the aircraft just wasn't capable of flying over them. It just couldn't climb. I just could not climb. Really, really cool flight. I don't think I streamed it. I really wish I did. We'll have to do it again, and I'll stream it or something. If you're interested in seeing something, you know, something daft like that, then do, yeah, usual comments and all the rest of it. It'll encourage me to do it if people want to see it. Okay, so we're on a very extended base into Cranwell, I suppose. So landing light can come on. We've not really been particularly bothered about stealth this flight. So why should we start now? And Cranwell's over there somewhere. But we're looking for Nottingham at the moment. Excuse me. Or, well, not Nottingham, we're looking for Syerston, which is pretty much on a 175-ish radial out of Gampston. So I'll tell you what, let's do it properly. So, not that one. 175. 175. That's just eyeballing the map. Oh, cloud. Oh, we shouldn't be in that. We absolutely shouldn't be in that. Oof, the inertia. Wow, crikey. Yeah, coordinated turns. Nah. There we go. We can see the VOR coming in now. And at least the 175 radial might not be that accurate, but it will certainly get us close enough to Syerston that we can see it. Visibility's good when I'm not flying through a cloud. Oh, there you go, that was almost a coordinated turn. I can't see Firestone. It's down there. Oh, there it is. I'm talking about, it's right on the nose. Oh, it wasn't a bad guess then, was it? And then from Firestone, we more or less go due east. And this is an absolute brute to turn. We won't be doing a military join, simply because this thing's just not manoeuvrable and flies far too fast. There's Firestone. And we want to fly due east. So, here we go. Round we go to 090, there or thereabouts. Well, that's not too bad a turn. We've done worse. 100 and 092. Ah, the frickin' cloud. I should hopefully be able to see Cranwell. Really not far from Firestone. I know I've been there enough. So throttle back all the way. You see it? I'm not seeing it. There. Who's there? It's just we were flying a bit north then. Let's just anticipate the correction. The wings are completely out now. The wind. Oh, is that it? Yeah, that might be it. Oh, I can see it. Yeah, there it is. Just see the red light? Oh gosh, as soon as we dropped a bit of flat, that speed came bleeding off. So we're not quite straight in. And of course, because we've got a bit of drag now, we need to put some throttles on. So, Cranwell traffic, Bone 79er, runway 8, final to land, gear down. Must remember to put the spoilers on because I've got a funny feeling this thing is not going to want to stop. I've not flown this in at least 3 years, and even then I've probably only flown it twice, and I just remember it being an absolute pig to land and take off. We got it off the ground, just. It's not the longest runway at Cranwell, we'd have been much better at Waddington. So we are flat full. But I don't know what the VREF is in this. But we're doing 190 knots at the moment, and it feels okay. I mean, roll's going to be good because the wings are out. It's pitch I'm worried about. And it's getting very sluggish in yaw. I mean, I'm almost full rudder there. Just watching the little approach guidance light here. Not worried about the PAPI lights, they're completely irrelevant. Cromwell traffic bone 7-9, a short final to land 08. Gear down. There's 160 knots, 156 knots. I don't dare go any slower, otherwise we're going to strike the tail when we flare. Telling us to put the nose down. I'm inclined to agree. That's a long landing. Oh, that was a heavy landing. Yeah, we're not going to stop. Brilliant. I mean, that is genuinely impossible to stop. That's full reverse. And we're speeding up? How can we be speeding up on full reverse? That makes no sense. Right, well, let's go around for another go. Oh, look at the shadow. Oh, the adverse yaw on this thing is just nuts. And the rudder's really bitey as well. Well, to anyone watching, that was a touch and go. Ah, brilliant. Was it chuff? That was a disaster, that's what that was. Oh, there's the glider field. Next to Daedalus, Officer's Mess. Are we doing 280 knots? Why is the throttle stuck? What? Oh. Well, that was weird. Have they set reverse thrust as like some weird ass mid-throttle? No wonder we didn't bloody stop. Oh, excuse my language, but come on, man. Gear down. Oh. Gear down. Ah, I said gear down. There we go. Cromwell, Bone 7-9, turning final, 08 to land. Gears coming down. Yes, military, you call when you start your turn rather than when you finish it in civil. It wasn't a disaster. this thing's got a roll rate and a half. So let's try and pay a bit of attention to this system here. This is your angle of attack guidance. I don't know what the ref speed is, so actually it's largely not going to be particularly helpful. God, I'm really stabbing at these controls, aren't I? Oh, come on, turn, you brute. There we go. Hey, oh, it's a bit twitchy, isn't it? That readout. This thing here. It's telling you what your angle of attack should be. So it's not an ILS by any means. It's just purely angle of attack. And if we follow it, we're absolutely not going to touch down. Christ almighty, the adverse yaw! Wow! Wow, this is not a good approach at all. But now I know don't use reverse thrust. I'm full rudder at the moment, by the way. That is maximum brake. Oh, we're not going to stop. That's an overrun. But I'm not going around again, so stuff it. Well, considering I have no idea what the VREF is, and that is just an absolute pig to land. It wasn't a disaster. I reckon if I hadn't had the long landing, maybe if I'd paid a bit more attention to that angle of attack meter, we probably would have got in. We probably would have got stopped, but nah. We've had a really good flight, so I'm absolutely gutted it wasn't recording for all of it. But I'll show you what we did. So let's go to 3. So that's what we've. Come on, Plan G, you can do it. That's the flight we've done. And a little over 7, 8, 9, 10. Like 3 hours? No, less than that. Less than 3 hours to do that. It's pretty cool. Pretty impressive stuff, like. Oh, I forgot we're still online. I bet that controller's watching me. Taxi all over the place. Never mind. If that's busy, no, he's probably not. Oh, this thing's got a drogue chute. Wait. I'm sure this has a drogue chute. No one here, right? No. We had anti-skid on. I'm sure this has got a drogue. Maybe it's not. Someone enlighten me. Someone who knows the stuff about the B1. Well, it wouldn't be one of my streams without first knackering a landing, although I'm not normally too bad at landing, but absolutely got to make a meal of taxi. And it's a real shame because the taxi out I did a really good job of. And I know you think I'm pulling your leg there, but I genuinely did do a really good taxi out. In fact, this, now I've actually decided to pay attention, this is pretty good. Not quite like Concorde, but it's more like Concorde than any other aircraft. Because we're quite far forward of the nose wheel. Not stupidly far forward, as you can see there, but we are certainly ahead of it. And it's a very long aircraft. I'm sure this has got a drogue chute. Like, every American aircraft has a drogue chute. Yeah, there we go, messing the taxi up. Yeah, it suddenly accelerates on you. Oh yeah, no. Then that didn't happen. Where did we start from? I'm sure it was here. I need to put some oil or some wax or something on these rudder pedals because they're really sticky. Well, we're going to park here and block the entire military ramp, because why not? No, too far left. I knew I was as soon as I started that turn. Oh well. Okay, right, one button, I do know where it is. Which apparently... Oh, that I put it to start like a div. Yeah, I was too far left. And there's the way in. Steps. And despite the engines being off, it's still making a noise. On full throttle. Why? What's making the noise? Like, I would normally say it's the APU, but you can't turn the APU on. This model's just sucks ass. Oh. Apparently the batteries sound like a jet engine. Right, anyway, whatever. I've had enough of this crappy. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks stunning. I mean, they've got the contours really nice on that. It does look superb. Oh, and the wings still move even without hydraulics. That's good. But yeah, I mean, the flight, yeah, it's just half-assed. Anyway, good fun, nevertheless. I hope you enjoyed what you did get to see. And might do some more at the weekend. My birthday tomorrow, so might do a birthday flight, why not? Ta-ta for